Welcome to partialarc.com. Don't do that.
In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. And a lot of weird shit. Roll to seize!
Welcome to Roll to Seize. This is episode 34. I'm your host, Jay Jones, and I'm joined by my co-host and Warhammer enthusiast, Andrew Dickinger.
That's me.
Wait a second. Is that not you, Andrew?
It's totally me. Ignore the mask.
Is this loose? Oh my god, wait a second. Did you make a mask of yourself?
No.
What is this made out of? Be honest with me.
Nothing.
Oh my god, I don't want to know why or
You're
how
still
you
holding
made
it.
this. I'm just going to toss this all right over there. Anyways, jeez. That was weird, and speaking of things being weird, it's been weird lately with 8th kind of just being around the corner and still playing 7 at tournaments. It's interesting, right?
Yeah, I mean, like, with the release of news being so active now, and, like, we're playing, like, the end of an edition, basically.
Yeah, and a lot of times when these things have happened, these announcements, usually the release is, like, the next day or right around the corner.
Or it's, like, not, you know, game impacting like this is.
In such a huge scope. And this is still, we're guessing, we don't know for sure, still probably a couple months away before that new edition comes out. And it's kind of like this weird waiting period where you're like, I don't know how much is going to change, what's going to stay the same. Now, one thing we're really excited about is, hey, what's that light? What the hell is that? It's getting really bright and... Okay, did it work? I didn't kill myself, did I? Nope, still there. It looks like everything's frozen in time. Perfect. Okay. Hey, listeners, I used this temporal device I found in the library to travel back in time mid-episode because, well, actually, I'm in the future right now. Well, I'm in your past still, but my current future. Anyways, time travel is confusing. Regardless, I wanted to travel back to this point because at this part of the episode, Andrew and I do discuss a little bit about what's coming out in the new 40K edition, or 8th edition, as some people have come to call it. And we talk about some rumors and some things that are confirmed or aren't confirmed. And sure enough, at this point, you guys have realized that there was a pretty big announcement this week, and GW confirmed a lot of stuff. Some things we talk about, some things we don't talk about. So using my powers, I could remove this part of the episode, but we talk about some stuff that I think is kind of fun, so we left it in there anyways. But we do know that at this point, some of the things we've talked about has been confirmed by GW, but man, it is tough to record these episodes in the webway. We get information pretty delayed because time is really weird in here. Obviously, I have a temporal device that I just found in an aisle here in the library. It's all very strange. Anyways, just so you know, we do know that some of these things are actually for sure confirmed at this point, but some things are not, so you might enjoy it. All right, I think I've stayed here too long. I hope I don't break anything with the space-time continuum like I've done before. Anyways, gotta go. Enjoy the episode. Huh. I swear I just thought I saw a light a second ago. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh, now one thing we are really excited about, we're not 100% confirmed on this, but Andrew, you must be excited because you're going to get a new Tyrannid Codex in a few months.
How about fuck you?
You're going to get an 8th edition Tyrannid Codex. I hear it's going to be one of the first ones, along with Space Marines and Eldar and Dark Eldar and Orcs and Tau.
How about go fuck yourself?
You're finally going to get it.
They just need good rules. They need an update.
They just need good rules.
In the edition that they're being played. They need a unit
other than just the Hive Tyrant being the guy at the center stage.
I played Nids this last tournament, and I actually did pretty well.
You did do pretty well. We're going to talk about that in a little bit. But yeah, I mean, it's pretty cool, and it is strange to go to these tournaments and be playing these rules out and just be thinking in the back of your head, like, I guess this will still be like this, or...
Well, the one thing that's weird is that after almost every game you play, like, a lot of people are basically, like, saying, you know, like, well, you know, this is going to go away, so I guess that's okay. And it's just, like, every single conversation starts with, well, you're not going to see this anymore, and it's just, like...
It's weird.
We don't really know, but
yeah,
it's kind of going that way.
I think we've kind of opened the Pandora's box of, like, rules changes. I feel like at Adepticon, GW confirmed a couple things, and now, like, it is just exploded with, like, well, maybe probably not this, and also also that. So it's like, it's getting out of control, the kind of the guessing game of what these changes are going to be like.
Well, yeah. Well, I mean, at the very least, we know 100% that the movement stat and modifiers
is the thing. Everything else is conjecture, essentially.
It's also confirmed that templates are going away.
That is 100% confirmed?
That's confirmed.
Oh,
so,
wow.
like, and that makes sense because, I mean, like, we'll get to it in my C's, but even playing an army like Renegades that has all the artillery and stuff, having, like, a demon's psychic phase just for rolling templates for multiple barrage weapons and everything is ridiculous.
It takes so long.
And with the rumor of the assault vehicle rule going away and just being able to assault out of any vehicle, that means you assault out of drop pods. Like, that means that basically, like, any platform's an assault platform, and that completely changes the dynamic of the game.
They come preloaded with a spring, and they just shoot guys out of it.
Yeah, well, I mean, that's how I imagine it. It's just a Space Marine cannon.
Yeah, just firing people out of it. That would be amazing. The drop pod comes down, and there's just 6 cannons, like, pointing out of it, just firing in every direction.
No, it's just a rotary cannon, so it just spins really fast, and with centripetal force, it just throws the Marines in the designated direction.
You see the Marines are, like, loaded into these little tubes, like, one of them looks up at the other one. Jared, do you ever feel like the Imperium doesn't really care about us? Do you ever feel like they think of us as material things? Oh, God! And just being fired out of a cannon.
Whereas the one that carries the Dreadnought is literally just a Dreadnought cannon. It just has a cannon on ready with a Dreadnought
Really,
inside.
that's the evolution of the weaponry for the Imperium. Their bullets just keep getting bigger. Like, bolt guns are basically firing... like miniature guns, like or like miniature Space Marines, and now just fire Space Marines at things.
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense.
Your bullet is not only huge, but it can punch.
But think about what, like, even something for like Eldar. Suddenly, Eldar Wave Serpents are assault vehicles.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of interesting things that are still not 100% confirmed that we're excited about. But yeah, guys, that's some of the news and rumors and things that are out there, and just kind of how we're feeling about the tournament scene and the hobby right now while we're waiting for 8th edition.
State of the game.
But that'll take us into our Seizes of the Month, our favorite time where we sit down and talk about how Andrew and I screwed up in one of our tournaments of this past month, and we definitely did.
I mean, it happens often. By often, I mean, like, every time.
Oh, yeah, and Andrew's going first.
Oh, man.
That's right.
Cold-blooded.
Oh, yeah.
So, I'm playing Nids again. I mean, no surprise there.
Stop the presses.
Stop the presses. I've been playing my Bees list.
Oh, the Bees list. Now, Andrew, describe what is the Bees list.
So
is it the Bees Knees, or is that a different list?
It's both.
Is it the BGs, like an army of
musicians? It's everything combined.
Oh, perfect. Wow.
But the theme of the list, so this version of it was an 8 Flying Monsters creature list.
Oof.
First time...
I can tell you, my little Eldar heart does not like to hear that at all.
Yeah, your Ynnari list does not respond the best of flyers.
It does not. It looks at them and goes, well, we had a good run, everybody. Let's all lay down on the ground and pretend we're dead. Maybe they'll leave.
But this is the first time I ran 4 Flying Hive Tyrants, which, yeah, I can see the draw to that because it's really good.
You're like, the power is overwhelming.
It's just like, yeah, I feel like a StarCraft Archon. I'm just like, power overwhelming.
Was that the trick where you were just like, man, I've just been running 1 or 2, but if I double up...
Yeah, I mean, I guess. I just give myself so much redundancy that I can't screw up on all of them.
Like, if you screw up with 1... it's not that big of a deal now.
And I did have one in the game I'm about to mention almost kill himself with Perils of the Warp. Like, just that guy is the only one that perilled, and it was always the least amount of dice, and he still perilled. It was crazy.
Well, I mean, you gotta have one Hive Tyrant that's gonna try to kill himself in your army.
Exactly. I mean, it wouldn't be me if it didn't do that. But I was running a Leviathan detachment with 3 Flying Hive Tyrants, the usual, a Malanthrope to give basically the entire army shrouded on turn 1.
It's the best artifact that army has.
Yes, the 85-point Malanthrope, yes.
The 85-point floating artifact.
There to give the entire army fearless and shrouded in your deployment zone and basically just annoy the shit out of people.
Oh, yeah.
Best Forge World thing I think ever released, honestly.
For sure.
So it's that. The troops for it was just 3 Mucilid Spores. That's 4 that specifically, and I'll get into how I captured objectives in a second. And then 1 Crone, and that's because I love Crones and I wanted to have 2 Crones, and the reason is that because I also took a Skyblight formation. Mm-hmm. First time I've run Skyblight. So Skyblight is a single Hive Tyrant again, so there's my 4th Hive Tyrant, 2 Harpies, which I wish could be Crones, a Crone, and then 3 units of Gargoyles. And the important thing with this is that the Gargoyles are OBSEC, and if they die on a 4+, you get a new unit back.
Yeah, they're a really nice kind of revolving door of scary flying insects.
And it's basically a way for me to have OBSEC the way I want it, which is with flying stuff, more bees, and the OBSEC units without a cat, essentially, because usually Nids could only get OBSEC from a had, and this is a way around it. First game was actually against demons, which I was surprising, it was a full Zancian Firestorm, ridiculous, a super hard army to kill, but I actually ended up winning that by objectives. Second army was against the new Nurgle Trader Legions, and learned very quickly that the Nurgle Trader Legions doesn't have a good way to deal with flying Hive Tyrants.
Not a lot of things have a good way to deal with, what was that, 8 flying monstrous creatures?
8 flying monstrous creatures.
Difficult to deal with that.
With my flying Hive Tyrants doing what I call the box conga, where they're just all base to base in a line, and they just go 12 inches and then 12 inches and then 12 inches in a box, staying in the center of the field with everything in range. But the last match I was against a Renegades list, and this was one of the guys that's part of the team called Relentless D.
Solid team. They're always top in all the charts and everything.
This guy had, I think, 7 units of 3 spawn. I think it was 7 units.
That's
Maybe
a lot
it was
spawn.
only 6 units, but
that's a hard army to sell if you're in that army. If you're like, all right, guys, we got all these cannons. I'm feeling really good. Are those zombies? Are those demon spawn? Where's the commander? What the hell is going on here?
That's why he's a tyrant. He's literally called like an artillery tyrant.
They're, I think we talked about this in our last episode. They're able to shoot into their own units.
Yeah, I mean in combat. Yeah, you can literally hit their own units in combat and use them as targeting.
Pretty
fodder.
amazing.
But going against this, I was actually a real bad matchup for him. Real bad. Because I didn't realize even the rapier batteries, which are the 36-inch last cannons that they get, are ordnance, which means that they can't snap fire. And so that means that once my stuff was in the air, blast guns was basically the only way to hurt me.
Boys, the flashlights are coming out. We got to bring these motherfuckers down.
So this was my game to lose, essentially, and I did it epically.
Is it because it's part of your C's?
It's part of my C's.
We're going to find out what happened?
I was a little too ballsy. I underestimated his defensive capabilities in the very beginning of the game. He actually had first turn, which meant this was the one vulnerable moment. And luckily,
it's when the sphincter is as tight as it possibly can be.
I'm puckered, man, and it's just
oh God, don't do it.
And he only managed to kill the Malanthrope. That was the only thing that died. So it was just
the one non-flying creature is actually the one that died.
Yep. Best case scenario. I was awesome.
Pretty amazing.
My turn now. Everything's in the air. He can't basically get it out unless he gets lucky flashlight rolls and stuff like that, or I down myself with psychic powers, which happens actively.
That never happens for you.
Didn't fail a single grounding check this game.
What?
I basically went for a 3 kill as one of my initial ones, and like I said, largely overestimated his defensive capabilities and really just the resilience of spawn, because he had moved all of his spawn up at me. He's I might as well, what else am I gonna do with them?
Right, they're just gonna coat the field.
So I was I just need to kill 3 spawn units, but man, are they way tougher to kill than I thought.
4 wounds apiece.
Well, it was also, no, they're only 3 wounds apiece.
Oh, really?
But it was night fight, and they all managed to reach cover, even though it was 5+ cover. That's still giving them a save against everything but my crones. So
Holy
it was just
crap.
crap. I mean, as long as one guy survives, I wasn't getting any of my kill points. Went for a 3 kill point. Didn't get it. So I was automatically super behind.
You're on the back foot from the jump.
But here comes my C's. So he decides instead that he's going to go for a hold 3 objectives one, which was super ballsy, but he had the means to do it because I basically had nothing on the ground. He covered every objective on the board, and this was 6 objectives. So it was just
Jeez.
He was on everything, and he just needed to hold 3 or more.
Right.
So I was can I stop this? Unfortunately, my 3 units of gargoyles came in. It was fortunately and unfortunately, because he was playing a primary mission called Assassination, which is he names 3 of my units at the beginning of the game, and as long as he kills them, he achieves his primary.
And we should call this out. We were playing Renegade. What is it called?
I think it was the Renegade Open.
Right, the
rules.
Renegade Open rules. And you can pick your own missions. You can pick your Maelstrom objectives. It's really interesting. You guys should definitely check it out if you don't know about it.
Yeah, it's hard to get used to just because we're used to the restrictions of ITC and everything being preset essentially. So I think that stalls if you're not used to it because you're shit, I don't know what to do.
I gotta learn literally a whole new rule set. But jumping back into your game.
Jumping back into the game, so he's covering all the objectives. I'm all right, he's on 6, which means I need to stop 4 of them, and then he loses this 3, and it basically wipes the board clean with Maelstrom.
Right.
My primary mission this game was kill points, which meant that with his assassination, there was he was gonna get my 3 gargoyle units. There's no stopping that, and I needed to get enough kill points to where I could basically tie primary and then maybe win on Maelstrom. So he's on all 6. All my gargoyle units come in, and they're all coming in for my table edge except for 1. I managed to contest 3 of the objectives near my home base, so they're gone.
There you go.
And then I just need to stop him from getting the one in the center. and I tried to kill the stuff off of it, and all I needed to do was have one of my Harpies land and move 12 inches and contest it because he had no obsec on it.
Well, you obviously did that, right?
And I didn't. My 2-wound Harpy that I gave no shits about.
The one unit that you're like, you could die. I'd be 100% fine if you just died.
Because listen, like, Harpies are only 135 points. They really should only be like 60 because they're pretty terrible. But all I needed to do was that. And like, I didn't. And he had the biggest sigh of relief when I didn't do it.
Just like he's just sitting there like, all he's got to do is just land one of those dumb monsters and I'm screwed.
He even gave me the hint. He was like, wait, so is it in the air or is it in the ground? And it like...
just completely went right over your head.
Right over. I was like, in the air, of course. And then like, not like, as soon as I started my shooting phase, I was just like, fuck.
There must have been like a slight twitch in his eye when you're like, in the air, of course. And he's like, oh, good. No other questions.
I basically just handed him my loss.
Right.
I was just like, well, I already know I lost the game at third turn. This fucking sucks. Against an army that literally was totally handicapped against me.
Yeah.
And I was just like, well, I blew that one as hard as I fucking could.
Seeds, they're the worst.
But yeah, so that's mine, Jay.
That was awesome. Well, I mean, not awesome, but a great lesson.
Learning experience.
For everyone to hear, just land your monsters sometimes.
And now let's talk about your fuck-ups.
Do we got to talk about mine?
Yeah.
All right. I made a mistake. Anyways, guys, that was our Seas of the Month.
No.
Oh, okay.
Greater detail.
All right, fine. So at this last tournament, my game where I had a Seas also had some spawn. I was playing against a Nurgle player.
Yes.
This guy is great. We have a great time whenever we play against him, both Andrew and myself. His name's Ryan.
Yes, Ryan Mead. He is impossible to piss off.
He is impossible to piss off, but I tried. But yeah, I mean, he always plays this beautifully painted Nurgle army. He loves Nurgle, and I'm playing my Ynnari. So my Ynnari from last month, I was talking about how I was running Harlequins. Well, it's been a month since then, and the Harlequins didn't do so great because they're Harlequins.
So you went full douche.
I went to the other side of the spectrum, into the dark parts of my mind, and I was like, what can we build? And Evil Me was like, oh, we can build terrible, terrible things.
I mean, he even did the full douchey Archon no scatter D-scythe.
Oh, yeah, baby. It was great.
Except he fucked up with them.
I did, and I'll get to that very soon. But yeah, so basically my Ynnari list was, I had some old favorites in there. I had my Cloud Strike.
Yes.
Which, with the new Ynnari Strength from Death, is pretty nice.
So he was, essentially, here's where it came from, is like, we were both, brainstorming this list, and we're like, oh, but you're losing the battle focus, so
which
they're not...
has been key for these guys for a long, long time.
Well, because it's a lot to do with their safety and their engagement possibilities.
Oh, yeah.
But then you realized getting, the extra shots with BS5 dragons
it's
is
a real good trade-off.
Strong.
And let me tell you, in another game, I played some MSU Space Marines, and it is a magnifique. Being able to drop down and just pop a rhino, explode it, and then to have like these just Space Marines like, shit. And then just a bunch of melt-a-fire, because you fire twice. Drop in, pop a rhino, then pop everybody inside.
Yeah, because, I mean, with the new explodes rule, it's not terrain, so they're just in the wreckage in the open of where their vehicle used to be.
Yep, and then you just shoot them again.
And they're BS5 melta-weapons, I mean.
Yeah, but I was not playing MSU Space Marines. I was playing quite the opposite. I was playing very durable Nurgle army. So I had my Cloud Strike. I had the No Scatter Deep Strike D-Size with the Archon.
Douche.
I also had the Incarn, which has been great. This is the second tournament I've brought her to, or it, and this thing is just awesome. She's really powerful. She can really take some hits, and the fact that she can just teleport around the board, if you don't know her rules, check her out.
Very good.
Really good. And then outside of that, I had some scat bikes to fill out the required 2 troops that you have to take.
Like an Autarch. And
an Autarch to help with my reserve manipulation. And I had the Oathway Strike Force to be able to get some first turn null deploy and then drop in some War Walkers wherever I wanted. It's so good. Very, very fun list. And I'm playing a Nurgle army, and Ryan's running 2 Renegade Knights, which are great.
They're so good.
They're so good.
Getting double Gatling on them is the bee's knees.
And he had 2 big drone units, and those things are freaking so hard to kill. They've got Shrouded, and they've got freaking 3 wounds, T5.
And then if you get, feeling a pain on them and stuff like that, it's just forget about it.
And that kind of comes into my C's. So my turn comes around. It's the second turn where all the fun stuff comes into play. Turn 1, I'm kind of just dropping a couple War Walkers and my 1 Black Guardian unit in with my Oathway Strike Force. Basically, they're there to hopefully capture some objectives, maybe kill something, whatever. Turn 2 is really where things go bananas.
Shit normally hits the fan.
Because on a 2+, thanks to my Autarch, that's where I have my Cloud Strike coming in with 3 Fire Dragon units, all kitted out. I've got my D-size dropping in with my Archon. This is where things literally just die. And this is my turn to win the game or lose the game. Even Ryan was like, as I was setting up my guys, he was like, this is really what you do here really kind of decides
it all falls
the game.
on this, yeah.
Yeah, because if I botch this, that's basically it. Because then I've got a bunch of little Keebler elves just standing out in the middle of nowhere.
With a ton of Nurgle shit.
Ton of Nurgle ready
to party.
So I drop my guys in. I set up my Fire Dragons around his knights. Now, Ryan has played my Fire Dragons in a Cloud Strike before, so he knows not to be near them. He did a really great job of one knight had to unfortunately be out in the open, so it was going to be toast. But another one, he hid behind a ring of his drones. He managed to put the drones out, so there was no way I could get into Melta double tap range, because I got to be within 6 inches or less to get that, armor pen, that extra dice.
Perfect screen.
So he did a great job there, so I was forced to try to blow through this drone unit. And I had a really great plan. Because this is Ynnari and they have strength from death, there's the ability with strength from death to either when a unit dies within 7 inches of a unit that gets strength from death, they can soul burst, and with soul burst they can either charge, they can shoot again, or they can do this really fun thing where they can move. So I cloud struck my guys in. I put my Fire Dragons right up about 1 inch away from his drone, so my Fire Dragons were about 8 or 9 inches away from his knight, and they couldn't double tap, but if that drone unit died, then I can soul burst off of that, and my guys can move in and shoot the knight. Now, 2 units, you're probably asking, how can 2 units soul burst off of 1 unit dying? It's because with Ynnari, with that special formation, if you have 7 units or more, you can do a double soul burst.
The Reborn Warhost.
Yeah, it's a really cool ability, and cheesy. Anyways, so I was like, okay, all I gotta do is kill this drone unit, right? I've got the perfect thing to kill it. I've got my D-size. These things are nasty. They're flamer D weapons. This is going to be amazing.
Ignore the shrouded and everything.
So. Oh, yeah. So I've got no problems there. I drop them in. I'm like, this is going to be cake. And I don't really think about where I drop them. I just drop them in towards the drones. And I'm like, okay, I've got some good flames on them. This is really going to work. So I start flaming these guys, the drones. And turns out I didn't optimize where I placed them very well, and I put a bunch of wounds on them, and Ryan just gets amazing invulnerable saves, and I think I only killed like a couple, and then I managed to kill another knight nearby, not the knight I was going for, but another one. It died, and then I managed to soul burst off of that, and I'm like, all right, I can really do this now. I can fire again. The D-size still didn't kill the drones. I fired my scat bikes at them. I fired my falcons at them, and I got it down to 1 freaking drone left. But that's all that he needed, because that drone lived, and I couldn't soul burst off of it to get within the double tap range. And even though Fire Dragons are amazing at taking down vehicles, they really needed the double tap to deal with a knight, because those things are freaking durable. 12 armor on the sides and back and 13 on the front. So my Fire Dragons had to fire from where they were, and I couldn't kill the knight. And sure enough, a living knight staring at a bunch of wobbly Eldar, he just went to town and was
with
just like
double Gatling cannons
with that are AP3. So
12 shots each.
My Fire Dragons, who are 3+ armor save, which is pretty damn good for Aspect Warriors, they were even still getting just riddled. And he did a great job of positioning his knight far away. So even when my units died near each other, I couldn't soul burst off of it. Now, one thing I thought was very clever. I was like, all right, I think he's going to screw up on one thing, and I think I got a way to save my D-side unit, because clearly he's just going to blow him away with his big, huge cannon shots. But if he kills another unit nearby, my D-sides can soul burst off of that, and I can rearrange them. Not only can I separate them a little bit so that they don't get hit by the blast very well, but most importantly, I can put my Archon in front. Why is this important, ladies and gentlemen? Because my Archon also had a Shadow Field.
To tank shots.
Shadow Field is a 2++. It is a 2-up invulnerable save that lasts until the end of the turn. Now, if he fails 1, he's only T3, so he just instantly dies. But like,
to strength 6, yeah.
It's I'm gonna pass 2+. I mean, that's the point of having a 2+, right? So sure enough, he hits my D-side unit with a big old blast, and he was pissed because I got to rearrange them when he killed another unit. And I was like, you fell for my trap. And here we go. What is that? 9 wounds. All right, here we go. First die roll. A single one. My Archon immediately explodes, and all of my D-sides die right away because they're all 3 up.
Yep.
So the AP3, or I think the big blast is either AP3 or AP2.
It's a battle cannon. It's AP3.
And it just obliterated the entire unit in 1 single die roll. It was like the biggest, he was laughing, I was laughing, crying. It was just so crazy. But that was my game. It was just back and forth all over the place, twists and turns. Ryan's a great opponent, had a great time. But man, if I had just put my D sides in an optimized position, and that's really my C's here, is if I had put my D sides and really thought about where I was going to put them, because it's no scatter deep strike. I can put them wherever I want.
Yep.
If I put them in the most optimized position so most of them can get the most hits on these drones, again, only one was left. All I needed was like maybe 1 or 2 extra hits, and I would have killed that unit, and it could have completely changed the game.
Yeah, I mean, you don't even need to roll to hit. You are literally just rolling.
Rolling with flames.
D. You're
with
just
D
rolling
weapons.
D.
Just as cheesy as possible, guys.
And you blew it.
And I blew it. Well, guys, that was my C's, and those were our C's of the month, and that'll be taking us into the Brown Library. Here we are in the Brown Library, and it's strangely calm in here lately. I mean, not just the library, but I feel kind of like everywhere in Imperium.
I mean, like, even across the Vox and stuff like that, like, you'd think with, like, Cadia falling and chaos, like, everywhere.
And Abaddon out there being all tricksy and stuff.
And then, like, you know, Rowboat getting to Terra.
Oh, yeah, Rowboat.
Having some kind of secret chat with the Emperor.
Secret chat. Do you think they played Sudoku in there? Just a big old Emperor level of Sudoku?
They obviously play foosball. I mean, all decisions are
That's
decided.
right. I forgot. Sudoku has been lost, and now we just have foosball as the primary. It's the only one that made it through.
It's the one time, and Joiche, it's the one time I will agree with you, Sudoku was lost
to the Age of
Strife.
Yeah. And foosball was the only thing that made it through as like a table kind of enjoyment thing. Like we lost skee ball.
Other casualties would include ping pong and pool.
Oh God, those were so precious, and we don't know how they work. I mean, people talk about them in old data slates, but who knows like how to make those things?
I have no idea how that game is. Right.
Crazy. But anyways, let's talk about the interesting things we found here in the Brown Library.
So, you know, delving into this, you know, whole Gathering Storm thing going on.
Right.
I want to see what the gist is with this Ynnari garbage.
Well, let me get into this garbage a little bit. Let me get into this dumpster and just weed my way around.
Death Guard, Shmesh Guard. I mean, like, I don't care about this Eldar crap. But then actually I found out it's super interesting, you know. Like,
really?
Going into this
Welcome to the dark side,
strength
Andrew.
from death and all this crazy stuff.
We welcome you with open arms, Andrew.
I'm going to have to... this is why I have the spray bottle.
Okay, all right, fine. Jeez, look, I'm just saying, the God of Death, I think, gets a pretty bad rap. Just saying.
It's the God of Death, Jay.
Yeah, I know, but also, like, rebirth and, like, I don't know, it's complicated.
So this time we're going to be diving back to another themed list.
Themey list.
Because originally I wanted this to, like, solely focus on my favorite Eldar unit that I think I've only ever seen you use.
Shining Spears, of course.
And mostly because I think I berated you into using them. But that unit is Dark Reapers.
Ah, yes, the Dark Reapers.
And I gotta say, for Eldar going this whole strength from death route, there is way too few death-focused shit in these Eldar armies, I must say. Like, really, like, happy shit, and I'm just like, nah, this doesn't fly.
If there's one thing I know, Fire Dragons, a very happy unit.
Yeah, I mean, like, even, like, anything like Guardians and, like, Warwalkers and, like, Spiders and
They're
shit.
They're just super psyched to be there, man.
I'm just like, no.
You can have positive people in a cult, right?
Yeah, I mean, I guess that happens often, but I mean, like, I'm considering this is, like, more like a goth cult. We gotta have some, you know...
Right.
Real, some death metal focused shit going
Of course. Those guys do some hardcore death metal. They take it all the way. I mean, they saw what they were doing with skulls over in the Imperium of Man, and we like, gotta get in on that skull action.
Yeah, we don't have nearly enough skulls. So, yeah, I wanted to be, like, a real, like, hardcore death-focused list. Like, I want this to be, like... the angel of death for Eldar type of situation. So we'll start with the Reapers. I mean, like, gotta say, if you don't know what Dark Reapers are an aspect host of the specifically Maugan Ra.
Mm-hmm.
And
Papa Ra, as we say.
Papa Ra. See.
It works.
That works.
I accept it.
But the Dark Reapers, they have some really cool weapons, and they've got actually really amazing stats. For one thing, the big change that they got from a previous edition is the ability to move and fire now. Which is huge.
They also got like some benefits to shooting like flyers, and they now ignore Jink. Like they got like so many buffs.
Yeah, I mean they give like specifically, you talk about like Dark Angels, Black Knights, give them the worst fucking time. It's just like that rerollable Jink save with Skilled Rider doesn't doesn't mean shit.
Doesn't mean anything to these guys, and they're AP3 with their guns. So there's like, whoops, sorry, Space Marines.
Starshot, crack missiles, or regular ones, it's all AP3.
It is weird that nobody talked about them, because as we know, Dark Reapers were really the only ones that got a boost when that new Eldar Codex came.
Yeah, of course, the only ones.
The only ones.
But then, they also have the twin linking when they snapshot against flyers and stuff like that. And so that's like super useful, and especially in the day and age when we have so many flying monstrous creatures and everything.
Yeah, I've heard of somebody using 8 flying monstrous creatures like a dick.
No one does that shit.
I know, right? But I mean, I feel like those kind of garbage people are out there. You know what I mean? I'm just afraid.
Garbage people, yep. That describes them.
Welcome to the
whatever
dumpster.
D-scythe, nose scatter, Ynnead douche.
Who said that? I don't have those. You can't prove it.
But yeah, so like I love Dark Reapers, and of course we're going to be running a Ynnari Reborn Warhost. It's important for a number of reasons. One, the Reborn Warhost gives basically pseudo fearless to the units if they're close to each other.
Yeah, I think it's because typically if you lose 25% in like the shooting phase, you would have to make a leadership check, but with this, it completely wipes that out.
Yeah, unlike normally with like the aspect hosts and stuff like that, where you get the rerolls for morale and everything like this, as long as you're grouped up relatively well, you're never going to be taking morale checks for casualties.
It's that 7-inch line that they all have to slightly tether each other to.
Yeah, and I mean, that works out as well because they also have the rule that if they have 7 or more units, that when they apply the Soul Burst action, actually 2 things get to do it.
What is the Chaos God that is all about 7? Isn't that Slanesh? 6 is Nurgle.
I think 7 is Slanesh, so they're stealing.
8,
it's the stealing Slanesh's number.
8 is Khorne and 9 is Tzeentch.
Yeah, it's 7.
So Slanesh is 7. So they're just a duality of Slanesh, even with their power base.
Well, what's the name of the Eldar god?
Ynnead.
Ynnead. I'm assuming like Ynnead via the fluff is like meant to be.
And if you spell Ynnead backwards, it spells Slanesh.
But yeah, I mean, like I'm assuming he's supposed to be like the real representation of what their god's meant to be, and therefore, yeah, he'd have the same number as Slanesh.
Well, he woke up and he was like, all right, I'm ready to kill all the Eldar. Oh, somebody already killed all the Eldar. And Slanesh is like,
I guess I only get these undead Eldar.
Lame Eldar.
But yeah, so let's talk about this Reborn Warhost, because it's kind of interesting that it's essentially like a Decurion, but it's also got a CAD built into the Decurion.
Yeah, it's very weird.
Very strange. So it has like all of the normal prerequisites of a CAD, where you need, 1 HQ and 2 troops.
But it doesn't give you that OPSEC.
And then no OPSEC. Well, yeah, because that's just a rule of CAD and then like 80 other detachments.
And then a whole bunch of other detachments.
So in this Reborn Warhost, you have to take an HQ and 2 troops. And the basic what I took for this is like, well, I'm going to take an Autarch, because the Autarch is, in my opinion, one of the best HQs in the game.
Yeah, I mean, I have tried to figure out, I'm like, I'll just take a Farseer this time, but like, it's just the best. And like Eldar, because they're so flimsy, they rely on deep strike and reserve manipulation, and the Autarch is just the king.
+1 or -1 to reserves is just so good, and he doesn't even need to be on the table to use it. It's just amazing.
And if it was just -1, it'd still be great, but the fact that you can do both, because there's times where I'm like, especially on this show, it's happened many, many times where I've killed my Autarch. Many times when I roll for his reserve roll, I'm like, please roll low, please. Even if I roll a 3, I can drop that down to a 2.
That's a 2. So it's an Autarch, but we got to follow this, like this whole death, super heavy metal theme. So we're giving.
Is everybody just, they have axes on their back? And I don't mean like medieval like weapons.
No, I mean
of axes.
I mean
like
their guns.
Guitars.
No, I mean their guns are axes. Yes.
Oh, sweet.
I mean they're all shooting guitars.
Just, wow. They're all that guy from Mad Max Fury Road.
Exactly. Basic. Yeah, that's it in a nutshell. So the Autarch, he has a Reaper launcher.
Nice.
Which we'll get to why that's important, not totally the Reapers that I just mentioned earlier.
Of course not.
A fusion gun and a warp jump generator. And the warp jump generator...
He is kitted out to the max. This guy does a lot of lower body work. He's got to work out those legs to be able to carry all that shit.
Well, yeah, I mean, that's the important part of giving him a warp jump generator, is making him jetpack, so that gives him relentless, which means he can move and fire the Reaper launcher, which is important. So we're going to attach him likely to one of the Dark Reaper squads just to be reaping it up, basically.
Oh, for sure.
But then, in addition to that, we also have to take my favorite, Maugan Ra. Gotta include the Phoenix Lord in there. He's one of the few Phoenix Lords that I think can be useful, but like a lot of them suffer the problem of the no invul save part.
Yeah, no invul save, and like even some of them, even with Maugan Ra, it's so crazy with the Phoenix Lords because like they're like almost there. They're like almost to what you think. And like, because Dark Reapers, for example, have 48-inch range guns, and Maugan Ra has a 36-inch range gun?
Yeah, and it's also weird because it's like technically worse than the guns' aspect has, because it's basically just a 36-inch shuriken cannon.
Yeah,
like,
and it's Assault 4, which is like, oh man, one more shot, you get him, Maugan Ra.
it's not AP3.
No,
I mean it's just
AP5. Why would he get special ammunition? That'd be crazy.
It's got fake rending though, so watch
It
out.
does.
You roll them 6s.
You got 4 die to make a 1 in 6 shot happen. Look out.
But yeah, so I found the way to essentially include him in a force that's sort of Reapery, but not quite. They also have skulls though, so it's okay.
Okay, that's good.
So those are our HQs. Then our basic 2 troops, just easy, just 2 units of windriders with scatter lasers.
Oh, hell yeah.
They're just really good, and you would almost always keep them in reserve because until 8th edition happens, they still have that 36-inch flat out. So
Yeah.
super important for capturing objectives. But here's where we get to the fun of it. So the elites in this core detachment, this Reborn Warhost, are 3 Death Jesters.
Ooh.
And what you do is you take Maugan Ra and you attach him to the 3 Death Jesters.
And they can be hanging out like buddies.
They all get to move and shoot. Very important. They all get strength from death. Very important. Because this is actually where I was like, oh, Maugan Ra is actually kind of interesting now that he gets the benefits of strength from death, which means that if he actually goes after something that he can kill, like with the Death Jesters, because he's part of that unit, they're all independent characters, so they can all join each other. So then you just have this little blob of Jester crazy skull madness.
Yeah, just guys just way too into skulls.
He gives them some melee defense, but also because of their flip belts, they can look out, sir, to him on a 2+, which means that you can have them up front. And if there's anything that's like strength 6 or something, you just pass it to Maugan Ra and he just eats it.
Throw it to your boy. Throw it to Maugan boy.
I mean, Maugan's got a 2+ save. I mean, he's rocking that armor. So in the event that it's like, we need an invul save, you just throw it on the Death Jester up front. But if it's anything strength 6 that doesn't need invul saves, you just throw it to Maugan Ra, and that unit can actually survive quite a bit of punishment.
Oh yeah, and with the strength from death stuff, those guys can get pretty crazy, especially if one of them dies. Like if they're getting shot and they do happen to die, then that whole unit can fire again.
Oh, and here's where it extends even further, is that because he's part of their unit and because of the Death Jester Shrieker Cannon rules, that when they have that ammunition that force morale checks, so you can chuck things closer to them, you can essentially manipulate where they go, which puts them within that 7-inch range for strength from death of other things.
Oh yeah.
And that's what's cool about it, is like bouncing them around, because normally it's like, that unit that I really want to get strength from death from to say my Reaper units is unfortunately 12 inches away.
It's a little too far away.
Whereas you blast them, cause a morale check, and suddenly they dance towards the Reapers, and the Reapers are getting strength from death.
That is the one thing, like, Death Jesters, besides just being one of the most beautiful models in all of Harlequins, they have, like, the most, like, epic pose with, like, their stuff just flowing in the wind and their super huge guns. They have just the funniest rule to just make people run all over the table.
I mean, most people just focus on the fact that they can make a thing run off the board and then it's gone.
Right.
Which is definitely super useful.
Oh, yeah, and very funny.
But in this case, you can actually be giving things that are really scary, like Dark Reapers. Suddenly you're like, well, the Dark Reapers haven't even shot yet. I'm just going to move those guys with a morale check closer to all 3 Reapers, have one Reaper unit finish them off, and now the other 2 Reaper units get free shots. And then they still get to shoot after that.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Like, you could mow down an entire bike army in one freaking turn.
Because bikes cannot jink against them.
Because they can't jink, which means you're just guaranteed to finish them off. They might have a couple guys remaining when the Shrieker Cannons fire on them.
Andrew, did a bike hurt you?
Bikes have always hurt me. They damage my soul, Jay. Oh, bikes of all kinds. Fuck bikes.
All kinds of bikes.
I hate bikes in 8th edition.
There's some like
40K.
really dark memory of you with like training wheels, and you're like, "Fuck this bike! I will swear hatred against them forever."
I like riding bikes, okay, but bikes in 7th edition 40K are fucking bullshit.
They are very strong. You know, as much as technology kind of plateaued in certain cases, I mean, bike technology just kept getting better as the years went on.
Yeah, I mean, I still don't quite comprehend how a regular bike on wheels is able to jink, because I'm pretty sure that just allows the guy to move sideways a little bit.
Just slightly hit, just one way to the other.
Just a little bit of a lean, other than he topples.
Sir, we can't seem to hit this man. This guy's leaning too hard.
But then the last part of the core detachment, just getting their Lord of War, essentially, which is what one thing that they're allowed, we gotta throw the Incarn in there, because the Incarn is literally a death metal incarnate.
So good.
It's a freaking demon crazy thing that teleports through dead bodies. It's just a guy was on the ground, you're like, that was my buddy Jeff, and then his body just detonates, and there's suddenly this angry spirit thing there.
Jeff? I am no longer Jeff, only Zool.
Yes, exactly. So that's the core of this army, and I mean, all of it basically works very well in conjunction with what's the rest of the army, and the rest of the army is 2 aspect hosts, because...
I mean, you're gonna play an Eldar something, you're gonna put an aspect host in there. If you can shove an aspect host in there, you gotta shove it in there.
And one of them, of course, is the 3 units of Dark Reapers. The other aspect host is another group of things that I haven't seen before with the new Ynnari, and I'm telling you, I found some fucking magic. And that's 3 units of Swooping Hawks.
Swooping Hawks, you say?
Now, Swooping Hawks, I found with the Strength from Death rules, are fucking bug nuts, and I'll tell you why.
Is it because nothing is more death-like than a angelic bird creature?
Why, I see them as the angels of death, Jay.
Very true.
You'd have to paint them black and black and white colors, and they are the angels.
Fire
of death.
shooting out of their wings.
So here's where Swooping Hawks get freaking crazy with Strength from Death. So they have their automatic additional 6-inch move. They've got a freaking 18-inch move. It's ridiculous.
Oh yeah, they are one of the, I think maybe the fastest ground infantry unit in the game.
Other than Warp Spiders, I believe.
No, actually, you have to get.
Because you would need double 6s.
You need double 6s in the 6.
So
reliably, they are the fastest.
They are the fastest thing in the game. So they essentially have the best jump shoot jump that exists, because you can dump them with a no scatter deep strike in the back lines. First do a grenade pack, which is hilarious because once again, this is where all the different things are giving Strength from Death to other things. You're like, there's only one guy left there. I'm gonna just grenade pack that's next to the Dark Reapers, give them Soul Burst, but my guys are gonna appear, my Swooping Hawks are gonna appear all the way over on the other side. They're gonna blow something away, and this is where it gets crazy because they already have a ridiculous amount of shots.
Yeah, they have 3 shots per gun, I believe. Yeah, and it's only strength 3, but when you have that many shots, it really does add up. It's super flashlights.
It's super flashlights essentially, and then you make them BS 5 and 6, and it's just they always hit with everything basically.
And with the Exarch, I believe, they no scatter when they come in.
Yeah, it's a no scatter deep strike, so they just go where you want them. You have the Autarch to basically make sure they come in when you want them. You get to grenade pack something for free. It's just hey, here's a free large blast.
You freaking murdered.
But then they come in, and then they can Soul Burst, and the Soul Burst allows them to do really insane shit. First, it allows them the obvious thing, if they kill something, to just shoot another thing.
Yeah, with that many shots, depending on what you're shooting, it can really mess some shit up.
So 3 Swooping Hawks is 15 shots. And on average, those 15 shots are only going to miss 2 bullets, and that's not if it's one of the Exarch's bullets that's missing. Even it's flashlights, you're going against horrors or base level units that are in the backfield. When you have a no scatter deep strike, you have 48-inch Reapers that can basically touch the entire board. You might as well have them go for the things that they can't see.
Yep.
Which is usually horrors or cultists or Tau Fire Warriors or something like that would get blown away by the Strength 3 shot. So you have them all land near 7 inches of the primary target. This is where the technical shit happens. So,
man, we about to get technical.
They have to just be within 7 inches of that first target. That's it. So they don't have to all be right next to each other. They just all have to be within that 7-inch bubble. That's where it's important. The first unit fires at them, assuming it kills all of them. Now the other 2 units get to Soul Burst off that one thing, which means they now get to shoot their shots for free, 1 free shooting phase, not their regular shooting attack, at any units they wish within range. So that's essentially giving those units double shooting phases, which is now 30 shots per squad, which is insane.
Correct, sir.
Basically clears the backfield, but it's with their movement that it gets crazy. Because if you're going against things like flyers, this means that you get to shoot that thing. Now they get 18-inch movements, which means now they can move over a flyer base and hit it with the Haywire attack, and now shoot at something 18 inches away from where they first started. They can literally, if they're going against an army with flyers, be like, oh, you have 3 flyers there. Well, my only real way to deal with them, I don't want to shoot the Dark Reapers at them. You got some shitty guys on the ground there. I'm going to have them all land here, and then all of them move off, because normally you wouldn't be able to use them from when they deep strike, because it doesn't count them moving over the base of the flyer.
That's true. They would just drop in, and that's it.
And that's
all they
it.
got.
This now allows them to do it after they deep strike, which means it doesn't matter where there are freaking flyers on the board unless they put them away from everything with an 18-inch move. You're always going to be able to do that on the turn they entry, which means that those guys alone could kill up to 9 units, including 3 flyers.
Because they're going to be killing the guys they come in after. They could potentially kill things with their grenade packs, and then they're jumping over flyers.
That's exactly right. Insanity.
So Swooping Hawks are just like engaging literally everything on the battlefield.
Everything. They literally have a way to target basically everything except for like standard vehicles, I guess, and then things that are like T8. But like, who the hell? You have Reapers for that. Like that's
what them Reapers are for.
Literally everything else in the army deals with that stuff with ease. Like transports Reapers, bikes Reapers.
Yeah, I mean, you give them that extra super shot, and now they're strength 8 AP3, which is just wrecking.
Yeah,
vehicles.
I mean, they of course you give them Star Shot because why the fuck wouldn't you give them
It's the best
Star
upgrade.
Shot?
It's like, will I do this? Oh, yes, of course I will.
Yeah, I mean, the fact that they could potentially kill 1 to 2 units on the ground and a flyer all in the same turn they arrive is bonkers.
Yeah, they are the super unit. We can engage all things at all times.
I mean, they're the literal angels of death in this. I mean, I know the Dark Reaper's trademark saying is, all life fears the Reaper, but I mean, like, man, like, I think the Swooping Hawks in this list would be like an unseen gem where people would just see, it's just a 90.5 man unit of Hawks. Like, what the hell are they going to do?
And, just
then they see it happen, and then they're just like, oh, God, like, I got to deal with that. But then how do you catch them? Plus, Maugan Ra and his little merry band of just craziness. Just like, you have to deal with that eventually.
Yeah, creepy gestures just running around.
They can basically engage anything.
And that's the funny thing about Ynnari with having multiple independent characters in a unit. What's funny is because if you just kill one independent character, like, you can just cause immediate soul bursting to happen right then and there. So when you just have just all of them independent, like, well, I hope you overkill, because if you underkill, part of this unit is going to shoot back at you.
But yeah, I mean, this list, it's called Fear the Reaper.
Fear the Reaper.
And I mean, like,
you've been waiting a long time to make a Dark Reaper army.
I love Dark Reapers. They're just my favorite, and no one uses them.
And now they've got the freaking rock guitars in this army.
They're too expensive. I'm like, they have 48-inch range. They move and fire. It's a strength 5 AP3 gun. They can get BS5. They have a 3+ save, and they're only 25 points a model. Where is the fucking problem?
It's an embarrassment of riches in the Eldar Codex, so it's tough to fish those guys out.
So yeah, I love the synergies of this list. It just plays off itself really well, and it's all super death themed.
Super death.
Yep.
Fear the Reaper. Awesome. Well, guys, that was our episode 34. We'll be posting a new episode of this segment every last Wednesday of the month, with episodes of Dark Heresy the first and second Wednesday, and 40K Arena every third Wednesday. And if you'd like to download more episodes or check out other similar podcasts, head over to partialarc.com, and you can email us any questions at rolltoseize@gmail.com, or chat with us on dakadaka.com and help decide the next Brown Library segment. Search for fluffy/underrated units in the 40K general discussion forums, or just search for Roll to Seize.
Yeah, I mean, you can search Roll to Seize, and please feel free to email any questions. We love answering questions.
Absolutely. Of course, you can always follow us on Twitter and Instagram for tournament and model picks at Partial Arc. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you guys on the next episode.